What's up guys, it's Aaronitmar. With the two most recent reveals for the DLC Fighter Pass for Smash Ultimate, I think it's appropriate to make yet another video discussing who could potentially be left to be added to the final two spots. Now I know I've made a video about this already in the past, but this time is different because the first video was spent with a huge focus on a Microsoft rep and a Square Enix rep, and providing evidence and giving my opinion on which rep from those companies could be added. But now that we know Banjo-Kazooie and Goku are the next two characters, the time can be spent on talking about totally new theories and characters, especially since right now we don't have any new leaked information, so we can really just put on our imagination hats. Now, I just want to address right up front Shantae, because I know everyone is talking about what seems to be the Smash Bros. Emblem in the window of her room in the Shantae 5 opening animation that was recently shown off, and honestly, I just think it's a coincidence. Her window has always looked like that, and either it was just a stylistic choice to make it more slanted, or it was indeed meant to be a Smash Easter egg. But even if it were a Smash Easter egg, I think it's a pretty innocent one, and they probably just took the opportunity to make the reference. Besides, this animation was outsourced to another company, so even if Shantae was in Smash, WayForward would probably be breaking a non-disclosure agreement revealing to a third party that Shantae was in. So I think it's entirely coincidental, or at best it's a cute little Easter egg made by the animators, but it's nothing more than that. So with reps owned by both Microsoft and Square Enix, we can be reasonably certain that both companies won't really receive another character. Minecraft Steve or Sora will probably not be added, as third-party companies have never received two characters in DLC. Of course, rules can be broken, but I'm honestly not holding my breath for another Microsoft or Square Enix rep. But a big exception to this could potentially be 2B from Nier Automata. This character holds a very unique position as one of the more popular requests for Smash DLC, in that the game she comes from is developed by Platinum Games, but Square Enix publishes it. Platinum Games also develops Bayonetta, which is another Smash rep, so it would be very interesting to see another one of their properties included in Smash. This is why I'm honestly 50-50 on 2B, simply because of the weird position of developer versus publisher. If the Smash team absolutely has their heart set on not having a company receive two third-party reps, then maybe Square publishing the game would make them hesitant on including 2B. But at the same time, they obviously have worked with Platinum Games in the past for Bayonetta, and Nintendo now has a much closer working relationship with Platinum because the Bayonetta series is now pretty much exclusive to the Switch, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if they wanted another one of Platinum Games' reps in Smash. Capcom is another company who has a ton of franchises to choose from. Since it's been officially said by Nintendo that the Fighter Pass will include characters from franchises previously not in Smash, we could count out both Street Fighter and Mega Man characters. But Capcom still has quite a large selection, and I think that either Phoenix Wright or Amaterasu would be amazing. For Phoenix, his moveset could largely be pulled from his portrayals in Marvel vs. Capcom, which could potentially double as both a fighting game rep and a Capcom rep. But if they don't want to associate their Phoenix moveset with the Marvel vs. Capcom one, I have no doubt that the Smash team would come up with something incredibly unique for the character. He is hugely popular and he has a large library of games, so in the history of gaming, he absolutely has earned a potential spot on the roster. But Amaterasu, coincidentally another character who has been in Marvel vs. Capcom, probably is a much easier character to develop a moveset for. Phoenix is in a kind of visual novel mystery game, so the character doesn't physically do much aside from smack his desk, so the moveset would be a bit more difficult. But Amaterasu is in an action-adventure game, and she actually has moves and attacks, so it would be very easy to just pull those from the games. The painted art style she could have would also be very unique to Smash. I honestly don't know personally a ton about her games. I know that painting on the scenery is a big part, so that could maybe translate really well into a moveset if done correctly. She's also a quadruped, meaning she walks on 4 legs, which is something that is very rare for Smash. Ivysaur and Duck Hunt are really the only ones that I can think of that also walk on 4 legs. I guess Pikachu and Pichu also kind of do, but they also stand on 2 legs for a majority of their movesets, so I guess they only half count. So another quadruped would be cool because in my mind it makes the character and their moveset a bit more unique. Unfortunately, because DLC characters will be from new franchises, we won't be able to see Street Fighter or Mega Man like I said. Even if we were to consider other Mega Man spin-offs as separate franchises, they are all represented at the very least in Mega Man's Final Smash, so that sort of axes any hope that I have. I mean, I'd love to see X or Zero or even Proto Man as fighters, maybe in a Season 2 or just the next Smash game, but for now, we probably will not be seeing them. If Ultimate didn't have such a focus on Echo Fighters, I would have loved to see Chun-Li as a Street Fighter rep, but of course Ken got that spot, and honestly, it's well deserved. I'd still love to see Chun-Li as another Street Fighter rep, but again, she's not from a new franchise, so she can't be added right now. But speaking of fighting games, I'd love to see a fighting game rep. I've said this since Ultimate was releasing, but having another fighting game represented would honestly be really great. Virtua Fighter and Tekken were both in Smash 4 as Mii Fighter costumes, so when Ultimate was first coming out, they were on my mind. Akira became an assist trophy, so that sort of axed any potential for him to be a fighter, but Tekken is not really represented at all in Ultimate, aside from an Easter egg in Pac-Man's taunt. There's no Heihachi costume, there's no spirits, no assist trophies, nothing. So I think this may qualify as an unrepresented series for Ultimate, which works on two fronts. Heihachi is pretty much the mascot of the Tekken series. He can be compared to what Ryu is for Street Fighter. He's just the face of the series, and you'll find him in pretty much every Tekken game. So while he's a fighting game rep from an unrepresented series, he also checks another box and is a character owned by Bandai Namco, the company who aids in the development of Smash Ultimate. I always thought it was weird that Bandai Namco hasn't gotten a new rep in the latest Smash game. Pac-Man was surely added as a gesture of goodwill to their development of Smash 4, but nothing's been added for them in Ultimate. Maybe they were waiting for the Fighter Pass to include one of their own properties. Tekken would be an excellent addition, and the stars just sort of seem aligned with the circumstances for this to be a very real possibility. But among the fighting game rep discussion, Mortal Kombat consistently gets brought up, with Scorpion or Sub-Zero being the two most popular faces of that movement. Now, I don't know much about Mortal Kombat, I've never played the series extensively, but I do know that a big selling point of the game is its over-the-top violence. I mean, one of Sub-Zero's most well-known fatalities is called Spine Rip, and the name is literally exactly what he does. He rips out their spine. So I worry that Mortal Kombat may just be too violent to join. Think about Joker. His final smash all-out attack is pulled directly from the game, but in Persona 5, the finishing animation shows the enemies pouring out blood from their bodies. In Smash, this was censored to just be sparkles instead of blood. And honestly, the silhouette of blood is pretty tame, but Nintendo still felt the need to censor it for younger audiences. So I think that if Mortal Kombat would be added, they would have to be heavily censored, and I don't think you could really turn someone's spine being ripped out of their body into a set of sparkles and still have it work well. In a hypothetical universe where Mortal Kombat was added and was simply super censored, would that really be a true representation of Mortal Kombat? It honestly might feel like a slap in the face to developers and fans alike, so I think for that reason Mortal Kombat probably is going to get passed over. If they could somehow add a character that not only represents Mortal Kombat really well, but avoids the over-the-top violence in the easiest way, then maybe, but I just honestly don't see it working. And lastly, I'd love to see what could be considered a Sony rep, and in my mind, those can only be either Spyro or Crash. Both of these characters are amazingly iconic, and they represent the classic PlayStation era incredibly well. And with both receiving their own HD remasters in the last couple of years, their popularity has never been higher. While they aren't necessarily Sony reps because Sony doesn't own them, they sort of seem like it in the same way that Banjo is a Microsoft rep. While he's owned by Microsoft, he doesn't really feel like a Microsoft rep since his peak popularity existed entirely on the Nintendo 64. In the same way, Spyro and Crash were both pretty exclusive to PlayStation and they had their peaks on that console. So even if they aren't owned by Sony, they definitely have a Sony vibe about them. But with both of their remasters being put on the Switch, it's clear that their companies aren't against being on Nintendo hardware in any way, and of course it's Smash, so anyone wants their character in the game. I mean, come on. If I'm being realistic, I think one of the slots is going to be for Heihachi or some other Bandai Namco representative, but I think Heihachi is most likely because he's another fighting game rep, and not only that, he was represented in Smash 4, so I think he got pulled because they have plans to include him as a DLC fighter. As for the other slot, I honestly don't know. I feel like there are so many different directions they could go, not only from what I talked about in this video, but also just random characters that nobody would guess. I mean, not a single soul realistically thought Joker was going to be in Super Smash Bros. I mean, Persona 5 just seems so different and so not mainstream that anyone could be the last 2 slots, so I'm just not entirely sure. And so for that reason, I would love to hear who you think will be in Smash. Not necessarily who you want. I mean, I'm interested in who you want for Smash, but who do you think realistically will join Smash? There's a difference, because I wanted Banjo-Kazooie, but in my heart of hearts, I knew that Minecraft Steve was probably a very good chance as well. I was very happy to be chosen wrong, but I was preparing for the inevitable where Steve was probably going to be in the game and Banjo was just going to be, I don't know, a sticker or something. So I'm very interested to know who you want for Smash and who you think will be in Smash. Leave everything that you have inside your brain down in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit the like button. I will see you next time. Peace out, and I hope you have an awesome day.